the Millennial Gaze.
What is up, everybody? So, not sure if we have anybody watching with us yet, but waking up this morning, I don't know if y'all saw, they captured the president of Venezuela and his wife, and now he's supposed to be giving an address at 11. Who knows if that'll actually be the case, but until he gets his fat, lazy ass on the screen, we can talk about why this is so fucked up. So, I hope until at least today, y'all were having a good break, good vacations, and good holidays, all of that fun stuff. But, so, this Venezuela stuff, big key legal things and international things. Violation of sovereignty. International law generally prohibits the use of force by one state against another, with very few exceptions. Unjustified force. That the U.S. didn't meet the criteria of self-defense or UN authorization. U.S. indictments against Maduro, Venezuela's president, or drug trafficking exist, but legal scholars argue these do not provide international legal grounds for military action. Venezuela faces a severe crisis with concerns about human rights, but the U.S. military action is seen as further destabilizing. And the rest of the world also has some opinions. China is saying, this is all from Reuters, by the way, so you know that this stuff is accurate. China is deeply shocked and strongly condemns the U.S. The use of force by the U.S. against sovereign country and use of force against the president of a country. This is China saying this, guys. China firmly opposes such hegemonic behavior by the U.S., which seriously violates international law, violates Venezuela's sovereignty, and threatens the peace and security in Latin America and the Caribbean. French foreign minister is opposing it, saying it violates international law. South Africa is calling on... Hey, Jazzy. South Africa is calling on the UN Security Council to maintain international peace and security and trying to address the situation. Even the Russia Foreign Ministry, y'all, this morning, the United States committed an act of armed aggression against Venezuela. This is deeply concerning and condemnable. The pretext used to justify such actions are unfounded. Ideologically, animosity has prevailed over the business pragmatism and willingness to build relationships. Like, this is just insane. Like, maybe I'm going to see if I can try another live. Oh, hey, that's me. We can see what face
is scheduled for 11 a.m. Eastern at Mar-a-Lago. Michael?
And we will be keeping tabs on that. Natalie in West Palm Beach, thank you. But here's a closer look at Nicolas Maduro. Venezuela's leader has been in power since 2013. Now, the U.S. does not formally recognize Maduro as the head of state and hasn't for years. Maduro was charged with narco-terrorism and corruption back in 2020, and there was a reward for $50 million for his arrest.
So Face the Nation will probably give us a bit more of an info, but this is ridiculous. I mean, we've got literal states such as, not states, countries such as Russia and China being like, yo, dude, you went too far. Now, come on. I mean, just about every country, especially from South America, is condemning this. I'm not even going to read Iran's comments. UK Chatham House think tank program director for international law states, international law prohibits the use of force as a means of national policy. Short of a UN Chapter 7 mandate, force is only available in response to an armed attack or possibly to rescue a population under imminent threat. So now, basically, since we attack them, they have total rights to attack us. Like, what? And also, let's not forget that they captured the president and his wife,
who are allied and supportive of the regime, and they say we are willing to fight. We're willing to give up our lives if we have to support this regime. So there may be an expectation that because there is an opposition that won an election last year, according to the voter tallies that they presented, to the evidence that they presented, and have been acknowledged by the international community as the legitimate government of Venezuela, that doesn't mean that this will be an easy transition. There are armed groups, there are armed guerrillas, and the government of Colombia, I spoke yesterday with the Minister of Defense of Colombia, which is, borders Venezuela. The government of Colombia is deploying their military to the border to both deal with any possible migration crisis that could emerge now after what happened last night because of the bombings or the taking of Maduro, or because they fear that those armed groups, the armed guerrillas, in particular the ELN from Colombia, which has been historically allied with forces in Venezuela, could retaliate. So it's a very dynamic situation. The opposition has not wanted to say anything. They have not responded to my request for comment yet. I assume they're waiting to hear from President Trump. But it's moving fast.
It is indeed. Lilia Luciano, thank you so much for your reporting. I've been following it all. CBS News national security contributor Samantha Vinograd joins us now. She served as former Assistant Secretary for Counterterrorism at the Department of Homeland Security. Sam, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. So how precedented is a move like this from the U.S., and should Congress have been involved in the decision to do it?
Well, the Trump administration has said for several months that they don't need congressional authority to engage in military strikes against alleged drug smugglers.
That's not true.
The president's constitutional authority as commander-in-chief of the U.S. Army and Navy under Article 2 of the Constitution, whereas many others have cited Article 1 of the Constitution and Congress's inherent responsibility to declare war. So that's a legal issue that's outstanding. But at the same time, Congress will be responsible, of course, for approving any funds that will be needed for further deployments in and around Venezuela and any
He's not going to go through Congress.
Not to mention the precedent of a president invading another country, engaging in these strikes, and exfiltrating a foreign leader absent congressional authority. That's a checks and balances issue with serious repercussions going forward. There is precedent. Back in the 80s, the United States, for example, did capture via Delta forces the leader of Panama and bring him back to the United States to stand trial. So there is some precedent there, Adriana.
Well, Sam, Utah Senator Mike Lee says Secretary of State Marco Rubio expects no further action in Venezuela now that Maduro is in custody. But even if the White House is saying this is over, how will Venezuela react to this? And should Americans be concerned about possible escalation or retaliation?
Yes.
Well, I don't think there will be one reaction by Venezuela. Venezuelans are not a monolithic entity. Instead, what we have to wait and see, and what we just don't know, is whether there have been any conversations through covert channels, for example, with members of Maduro loyalists to talk to them about de-escalation and leaving power, and or any conversations with opposition leaders about stepping in to run the country. Under the Venezuelan constitution, ostensibly the vice president should take over. But what we don't know, again, if there have been discussions about who is going to run Venezuela now that Maduro is gone, whether with Maduro loyalists, with the opposition, and or with neighboring countries like Colombia, like others, who could be critical in helping to instill a sense of calm and stabilization in an incredibly chaotic situation.
And Sam, what was your reaction when you saw the news that Maduro was in custody? And if you could imagine, what it was like behind the scenes, how complex is an operation like this?
Well, I think certainly many breathed a sigh of relief that Maduro's reign of human rights abuses, democratic backsliding, narcotics trafficking, and more are over. At the same time, this was an incredibly complicated military operation, likely with a broad range of military assets backed up by seriously good intelligence on Maduro's whereabouts. So kudos to the folks that pulled it off. But it is truly mind boggling that the United States launched this operation in Venezuela without congressional authorization, without a UN Security Council resolution. And that does open up a Pandora's box when it comes to precedent going forward. So while Maduro was an illegitimate leader doing very bad things, this was an unprecedented operation. And without the right follow through, could lead
Forgot
to a
I'm
more
watching this on
chaotic
CBS,
situation than
but I
currently
wanted coverage
exists.
while I was talking.
Sam, where do you think that the U.S. would take Maduro?
They could take him a number of places, Adriana. I think that ultimately the goal is to have him stand trial in the United States. He was indicted in 2020 on a range of narcotics and other charges. But behind the scenes, ostensibly, there's a law enforcement angle to this, where to take Maduro, where to have him stand trial. Certainly what government will be functioning today now that Maduro is no longer there. And further, what happens to Venezuela's vast resources, its oil, its gold, its mineral deposits, and other matters. And so those behind the scenes conversations, that wargaming, Adriana, not the military side, but the stabilization side, oftentimes accompanies the discussions and the wargaming on the actual military operation. We just don't know what's happened in that regard. And we hope to hear more about that from the president this morning.
All right, Sam Vinograd, thanks so much for joining us. And we want to turn now to Ed O'Keefe, our senior White House and political correspondent. He is in our Washington newsroom. Ed, I know you've been talking with your White House sources all morning. What are you hearing in Washington?
Well, Michael, just keep in mind, the president has been saying for months that this kind of attack or operation.
Hold on one second, guys. Okay, so I've seen people on my Facebook reacting to this, and it's mostly the same kind of people that usually do, just being like, this is a war crime, this is an act of war, like, what is he doing, Mr. Anti-War President? But even some people are saying stuff that don't usually. So it's like, whenever, right? Happy New Year. Here's a new war, Mr. Anti-War. And it's just so frustrating. Every time some crazy stuff happens, like all the stuff that's been going on with the Epstein files, which I'm not going to lie, is really, really heavy for me personally, for a multitude of reasons. But it's like, okay, was that enough? Apparently not. Now we're just violating international law. Is this going to be enough? Probably not. They're going to make up some crap about, oh, well, the drug lords and blah, blah, blah. The reason that they attacked Venezuela is because of oil. It has nothing to do with drugs. I do know he does have some charges against him for drug trafficking, but Trump just pardoned, what was it? I believe a drug lord from Colombia. like a big one. So stop saying it's about drugs. It's not about drugs. It's about oil and him puffing out his chest and throwing his dick around saying he's this big strong man. Big strong, don't mess with me. Bullshit. It's just such bullshit. And of course, the dumbass is late. Probably getting another injection in his hand or... Yes. I think he will. I definitely think he's going to try it in Iran. But I did see when I was looking through like the comments from the other countries, Jazzy, that Iran was like, oh, this is a good idea. Way to go, Trump. So I'm wondering if, because the statement was made by Iran's supreme leader or whatever the hell. It sounds like some shit out of Star Wars, but it was said by his supreme leader being like, oh, we're going to back this. We like this. So I think they're going to try to suck up to him as much as they can, honestly, just so they don't get attacked again or whatever they tried to do with the bombs that didn't do anything. I think that was in Iran. There's just so much stuff that happens and you're like, okay, kidnapping leaders and their wives. Yeah. I went to pick up a medication today, Jazzy, before I decided to do this live. And I think usually it's like $30 because it's a 90-day supply. And today it was almost $45. Doesn't sound like a lot for a lot of people, but that's definitely still a hike. And when I like looked at my app for my medicine and I was like, okay, time to pick up my stuff, it'll show you like the price. And at first when I read it, I was like, wait, that can't be right. It's never. Now for Pennsylvania, it's still pretty cheap. I remember when I lived in Vegas and I would pick up like 1 or 2 medications, it would be like $120. And an extra like $15 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're like me and you take multiple meds, it's a lot. Thankfully, they're kind of spread out, like, but yeah, and we don't even have Medicaid or Medicare or Affordable Care Act. Like, we have private insurance through my husband's job, and it's really good insurance. So I'm kind of nervous about when I have to go back to the hospital and deliver this new little bundle of joy and see how much all that costs. Because when my daughter was in the NICU, I don't think we had to pay much of anything out of pocket. But it's also not May, so we have a little while to go yet. Bro, you're right in front of the camera. Get your head out of there. Like, this is just so rude, too. Like, he just makes us... Oh, is he coming? I see cameras. Or are they just testing it? I feel like I'm with my toddler anytime you, like, hear a car door outside. And we're like, who's coming? Who's coming? Is he coming? Ugh. But anyway. This is just so rude to keep people like this. And I know it's ironic that I'm saying this as I'm sitting here like waiting, but does he think that most people just sit around and like wait for him all day, every day? I mean, yes, I agree, Jazzy. This is incredibly draining all the time. And I'm glad that over the holiday, I didn't, besides doing the show, I think it was on Monday with May. And then like today, between this and the holiday, I maybe consumed like 30 minutes of content. Because instead, we traveled and watched Stranger Things. We haven't watched the finale yet, though, but it's really good. If y'all haven't watched it yet, you should definitely watch Stranger Things because that show is incredible for so many reasons. And I love that the anti-woke people are all up in arms because a character had a coming out and everybody accepted him, because God forbid. Even though the crazy Christian people are like, oh, don't talk about witchcraft and games and Dungeons and Dragons and oh no. But yet they're fine with that. And then kid comes out as gay. Oh Lord. You're gonna need an old priest, a young priest, some holy water, all the things. I don't understand these people. And I was hanging out with a friend last night, and we do movie nights every once in a while. And my friend that I was hanging out with, she is the best person to like watch horror movies with, especially if she's seen the horror movie before you. And so like she will let you know that something is coming or something's about to happen. She'll be like, "Ooh, pay attention. Oh, look back there. Ooh, something's coming." I could never watch a horror movie in theaters because I would just jump and I would waste all my popcorn. Because I keep my mouth open a lot during the movies. Like, what's the movie we watched last night? It was not good. Oh, The Woman in the Yard. That movie was the theme. Like, we had to look up what the movie was about at the end because we were like, what in the hell? And there were times when we were like yelling at the TV, like, why are you staring at her? Just go call the cops. And just doing all this stuff because I don't know if I'd ever survive in a horror movie. I love how I'm just totally weaning off topic right now, but it's better than having to talk about politics at this point. But I didn't get into horror movies though until like COVID, because as sucky as COVID was, it was nice that me and my hubby got to like just hang out with each other because we call ourselves like extroverted introverts, where we are extroverted when we have to be, but we're also just as cool with just hanging out and like not having to talk to people. Okay, let's get another angle about how probably tiny this room is. We're just doing another angle so we don't have to stare at the boring ass podium. He's not even in, like, they showed a video of like the White House on one of the channels. Yeah, right? Like this, he's not even at the White House. He's at freaking. And then I just saw, I think it was on Threads, that on Threads, people love to attack MAGA, and it's great. And some dumbass MAGA person was like, ooh, he's paying for the marble in the new ballroom out of his own pocket. No, the fuck he's not. He doesn't pay for anything and makes everybody else do it. And there's been evidence for years of all of these things. But people are just like, oh, he's rich, so he must know what to do. No. And like, look at all these reporters like stacked on top of each other. Also, something else I see about all this is just white, 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 white. Wonder if he had a Gatsby New Year's Eve party too. And if his handlers let him stay up till midnight with his phone on him. Maybe he could just stay at Mar-a-Lago, and then people could actually get work done in DC and get actual shit done, even though like Congress isn't even in session, and I don't think the Senate is either until Monday at least. But what the heck do I know? I'm just a stay-at-home mom musician in Pennsylvania. But yet I'm pretty sure I could run the country better than this dumbass. Watch this idiot come out with like theme music or some shit. Because that's the point that we're at now. If you ever watch a show I highly recommend, now it is pretty rough. Oh, me too. I'm so over it. It felt like so long ago when we didn't know any of the names of the crazy ass cabinet members, and it wasn't like a goddamn reality show. So if you're okay with like sci-fi and gore, because there's a lot of gore, I highly recommend watching The Boys on Amazon Prime. I know it's Prime, but the show is really good. It's very graphic. It is very graphic, but it's really good. And I also love the soundtrack because one of the main guys in the show, one of his favorite artists is Billy Joel, and that's my favorite artist too. And I love Billy Joel. I could listen to him all day, every day. And he also hates Trump because he's a New Yorker and knows what's up. You know, someone tried to argue with me once that he supported Trump, and I'm like, girl, no. No. Although I'm kind of sad recently that Gwen Stefani came out recently as MAGA, and I'm like, ugh. I feel like we just have to keep making like all of these lists of like, okay, so who are we gonna boycott now? What are we gonna do now? And it's just like, it's just getting to the point of this shit is tiring too. I don't know about you guys. Even these people like standing here and sitting here look bored out of their minds. They're all on their freaking phones at this point. Like, is he coming? I'm just, you know, when he goes, when it'll happen, if he's still in office, I'm afraid they're gonna do like some Weekend at Bernie shit with him. Prop his eyes open, put sunglasses on him. Because I think that's the point that we're at now. Like, this is ridiculous. At least have some Ave Maria for us to sway to for 45 minutes. I'm so funny, you guys. Wow. I bet this isn't even the longest he's kept people waiting. I can't even imagine having like the job of a reporter, especially a female reporter nowadays, whether you're MAGA or not, and just being like, okay, so now we got to wake up and dress up today, and we're going to get, you know, verbally harassed by the president. No big deal, just doing my job. For me personally, and I mean, yeah, I'm a musician, but I hate dressing up. Thankfully, what is that photo they released in Maduro? Looks like Dr. Disrespect.
Your foot keeps hitting the tripod. Is it true? Yeah.
Oh. Well, it's probably like a clapback from the Time or whatever Life or whatever magazine did all those interviews with all of the awful close-ups. It's clapback for pointing out Caroline Levitt's Botox, which if she's pregnant, why isn't MAGA up in arms about that? Like, that's really dangerous to get Botox done when you're pregnant. But no. And I'm sure they're going to do this some big thing about her being a working mother and she still comes to work, and it's possible to do these things. Yeah, I'm sure she has a nanny and literally just pulls her kids out for like photo ops. She's almost like a clone of Erica Kirk minus the Chucky eyes that Erica Kirk has. Because that shit is scary. I love how they're all just like popping out down the hallway too, being like, oh, my toddler's not happy. I love how they're all just like popping their head down the hall like, okay, we got some stuff to do, dude. Let's go. And one of the things that's been kind of making me mad lately too is since the last No Kings protest, people have just been kind of silent. Like, nobody's got anything really planned. It's all just kind of like, oh, okay, let's twiddle our thumbs. And I do see some smaller things of like communities going out and doing something at least weekly. I mean, I've seen some stuff where people will go out in front of like their MAGA reps offices and protest, which even just small things like that. And where I am, and at least by a few other people, there's like visibility brigades and stuff. But you see other countries, like I think Romania just had big protests, and like Hungary with their protests, and even recently, what was it, in Iran? There were people like in the streets protesting in Iran. Like these protests, we need bigger stuff, and we need national coverage of it. It's just, I mean, there's just so many factors that go into all of it too, because it's like people can't leave their jobs because they can't afford not to have a paycheck, and they can't not afford to work. And I don't know, I'm just rambling because I'm just trying to figure out what to talk about. Oh, think they heard footsteps. Who's coming? At this point, they could literally have like a puppet with it very clearly being a ventriloquist dummy, and they would just be like, all right, I guess that's him. Okay, who drinks water like that? I think this is the first live where I've done like a let's watch in context and comment along. So if whenever this does actually start, if you like it, let me know in the comments or the chat and like, comment, share, subscribe. All the flashy flashes. Oh my gosh. Like, guys. And as always, watch our live shows on Mondays. We have a website, and I'm trying to figure out what's up with that picture. There's a lot of pictures. Apparently, they're taking him to New York. Maduro. "36 minutes. Come on, dude. Can you imagine if at your job they tell you, all right, we're starting this thing at this time, so you better be there, ready to go at this time, and then you still don't show up for 36 minutes after the alleged time. Like, your ass would get fired. There are so many things that this idiot does and doesn't do that if he were any other normal job, he would not have that job. There's no way he could be in any type of like education field because all the Epstein stuff. He could never hold like a media job because he would just think that everybody would wait on him and wait for him to do things. And, you know, there's these things called deadlines and timetables and all that jazz. You know, when I was in college, I had a teacher that would tell us, he was our marching band teacher and our wind ensemble director, and his saying was, to be early is to be on time. To be on time is to be late. And to be late is unacceptable. So it's a little harder now because I've got extra weight and stuff to get up and move. But I still always try to arrive at places kind of early or be there a little beforehand just to collect myself and kind of gather everything. But that's just me. But I was like that even before I went to college because my parents were the type of people that'll say, hey, we're going to show up or we have to be there by 10. That means we should leave at this time, but then arrive there around 9:45 to buy us some time. Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh my. Oh boy. Soup's on. What is the point of having barriers if they're all just gonna? Oh God. Oh yeah, gotta bring Keg Seth out with you.
Thank you very much. This is Big Duff. Appreciate you being here.
All right, who do we got? Is that Duffy?
Last night.
Oh, good.
And early today.
Nosferatu's out there
By
too.
direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation.
No.
In the capital.
No.
Of Venezuela.
Do you even know the capital?
Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World World War II.
I was going to say, is he going to compare it to Hiroshima or some
The
shit?
force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer, all perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time.
No.
All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military working
true.
with U.S. law enforcement successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we
Oh, yeah, dead of night. It was dark.
It
No
was
shit.
dark, and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia
You notice he
Flores,
can only say like 3 words at a
both of
time,
whom now face American justice.
but you don't.
Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York, Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens.
Shay
I want
Shay.
to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it.
Oh,
You've
shut
seen
up.
some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan, or if you look back to the Jimmy Carter days,
Oh my God.
they were different days. We're a respected country again,
No.
like, maybe like never before.
No.
These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement
Mm-mm.
caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea, just sort of waiting.
Any ships,
We would
lots of
come.
ships.
So they were in a ready, what's called a ready position. But they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it is an incredible thing to see. Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military
It was not a
equipment
fight. It was a
lost, not
blatant
one
attack.
service member was more importantly killed. The United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far. The capabilities and skills are
You say break it out of the wall.
scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have. And you see that even if you just look at the boats. You know, we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills 25, on average, 25,000 people. We knocked out 97%. And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela.
Oh my God.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with.
You can't even run this
having
country.
somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious.
You can't just take over a
transition.
country,
It
dude.
has to be judicious, because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people
Bro,
of Venezuela.
judicious means having good
That
judgment or
includes
sense.
many from
None of y'all.
Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind.
So you?
Had decades of that. We're not going to let that happen. We're there now, and what people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it essentially until such time as a proper transition can take place.
No, that's not. He's going to try to take over the world.
Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our
He's trying
large
to pump
United
the oil
States
out.
oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure,
Oh,
and start making money for the country. And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave.
Congress, get him out. UN, arrest him.
We assumed that a second wave
Nuremberg level trials, let's go.
The first wave, if you'd like to call it that, the first attack was so successful, we probably don't have to do a second, but we're prepared to do
I agree.
a second wave.
We have become
much bigger
heresy.
wave, this was pinpoint.
If the president is out of the country, why do you need to attack the country again?
We won't have to do. This partnership of Venezuela with the United States of America, a country that everybody wants to be involved with because of
here.
what we were able to do and accomplish, will make the people of
I
Venezuela
love to say it,
rich,
y'all.
independent, and safe. And it will also make the many, many people from Venezuela that are living in the United States extremely happy. They suffered. They suffered.
Ooh, she got a big
So much
knot.
was taken from them. They're not going to suffer
Brushing a
anymore.
pony, y'all.
The illegitimate dictator
More fun than
Maduro
listening to
was
this
the
dummy
kingpin
talk.
of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States. As alleged in the indictment, he personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas.
Now you're just making
Our
words up.
nation with lethal poison responsible for the deaths of countless Americans, many, many Americans, hundreds of thousands over the years of Americans.
What about you?
Because of him. Maduro and his wife will soon face the full might of American justice and stand trial.
When will you?
On American soil. Right now, they're on a ship. They'll be heading to ultimately New York, and then a decision will be made, I assume, between New York and
you?
Miami or Florida.
Yeah, you tell him.
We have people where the overwhelming evidence of their crimes will be presented in a court of law.
What about you?
And, I've seen it. I've seen what we have. It's both horrible and breathtaking that something like this could have been allowed to take place.
So does all the
For many
shit
years
you've done.
after his term as president of Venezuela expired, Maduro remained in power and waged a ceaseless campaign of violence, terror, and subversion against the United States of America, threatening not only our people, but the stability of the entire region.
Did he have a stroke before he came out?
To traffic in gigantic amounts
Like
of
he is
illegal drugs
slurring.
that inflicted untold suffering and human destruction all over the country, all over, in particular, the United States. Maduro sent savage and murderous gangs, including the bloodthirsty prison gang, Tren de Aragua, to terrorize American communities nationwide, and he did indeed.
Did anybody even hear Trende Aragua before this dumbass brought it up?
They cut the fingers off people if they call police. They were brutal.
Yes.
They're not so brutal now.
I'm waiting for them to attack us at this point.
Congratulate our military, Pete, and everybody, and
Oh,
our
God.
National Guard.
We have to listen to Cake.
The
That's
job
what.
that they've done,
That's
whether it's in
just
Washington, D.C., where we have a totally safe city, where it was one of the most unsafe
Nope.
cities anywhere in the world.
Not true.
And now we have no crime in Washington, D.C.
Not true.
We haven't had a killing. We had the terrorist attack a few weeks ago. A little bit of a different kind of a threat, but we haven't had a killing in a long period of time, 6-7 months. We used to have 2,
6, 7.
on average 2 a week in Washington, our capital. We don't have that anymore.
Meanwhile, all they do is
Restaurants are opening. Everyone's happy. They're going. They're walking their daughters. They're
Nope.
walking their children. Their
Why are you
wives. They
obsessed with
walk
their daughters and children, dude?
Restaurants are opening. all over Washington, DC.
Dude.
So I want to thank the National Guard. I want to thank our military, and I want to thank law enforcement. It's been amazing.
Yeah, the same
We've
law
got
enforcement
more
that got
cities
beat up on
doing it, as you
January
know,
6th.
We're doing it in Memphis, Tennessee right now, and crime is down.
Nope.
It just sort of started a few weeks ago, but crime is down now 77%.
But now the National Guard is out of California, Chicago, and
The
DC.
governor of
You know.
Louisiana called, great person.
Oh, in New Orleans.
And he wanted us to help him, as you know, in a certain very nice part of Louisiana. And we have done that. It was a rough
Nope.
section, and we have crime down. I understand it's down to almost nothing already.
Nope.
After 2.5 weeks.
Yet y'all haven't finished cleaning up from Katrina.
Nothing. And we've only been there for 2.5 weeks.
All
Can
right.
you imagine
There's
why
Pig
governors
Sets,
wouldn't want us to help?
Nosferatu,
We also helped, as you know, in
Dummy Duffy,
Chicago, then
and
went down a little
Spineless
bit. Then we
Rubio.
did a very small help because we had no
Surprise Christy
working
Dumbass.
ability with the governor. The governor was a disaster, and the mayor was a disaster.
Nope.
It knocked down crime, but we're pulling out of there when
You
they
have
need
to
us.
pull out of there.
You'll know. You'll be writing about it. And likewise, Los Angeles, where we saved Los Angeles early
No,
on.
you didn't.
Where the head of the police department made a statement that if the federal government didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles.
Not true.
It's long after the fires. That's when they had the riots in Los Angeles. We did a great job. Got no credit for it whatsoever.
Not true.
That's okay. It doesn't matter. We don't need the credit.
Yes, you do, because you have the
But
you
we'll
go
be
the
pulling
size
out
of
when they
Russia.
need us. They'll call, or we'll go back if we have to.
No, you won't.
We'll go back. But we did a great job in various cities. But the place that we're very proud of is Washington, D.C., because it's our nation's.
Then why
capital.
aren't you
We
there?
went from being a crime-ridden mess to being one of the safest cities in the
It's
country.
still a crime-ridden mess because your ass
The
is there.
gangs that they sent raped,
No,
tortured, and murdered American women and children. They were in all of the cities I mentioned.
like you and your buddies.
Nicaragua. And they were sent by Maduro to terrorize our people. And
Nope.
now Maduro will never again be able to threaten an American citizen or
And then,
from Venezuela. There will no longer be threats.
oh my God, did he
Years
actually
I've
write this shit
highlighted
down
the
before he
stories
read
of
it?
those innocent Americans whose lives were so heartlessly robbed by this Venezuelan terrorist organization. Really one of the worst. One of the worst. They say the worst.
No, that's you,
Americans
dude.
like 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungary from Houston. Beautiful Jocelyn Nungary. What happened?
Why are you calling the 12-year-old beautiful?
They,
That's
as
creepy.
you know, they kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered by Tren de Aragua animals. They murdered Jocelyn and left her dead under
You had
the
to find
bridge.
one
It was a
person to
bridge.
match your statistic,
bridge
even
that
though
will
white-on-white crime is
never be the same to
greater
so
in this
many people
country
after seeing what happened.
than immigrants.
As I've said many times, the Maduro regime
Thanks.
emptied out their prisons, sent their worst and most violent
And God
monsters
forbid
into
we
the
actually
United
do
States
research in this
to
country.
steal American lives.
Nope.
And they came from mental institutions,
There it
and
is.
insane asylums. They came from prisons and jails. The reason I say both, they sound similar. Actually, prisons
Seeking asylum is not mental
a little bit
asylums.
more hostile, a little bit tougher.
Oy.
Mental institution isn't as tough as an insane asylum, but we got them both. They
That's
sent
where
from
you
their
need to
mental
be.
institutions. They sent from their jails, prisons. They were drug dealers. They were drug kingpins. They sent everybody bad into the United States.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what
No
they did, you
longer.
moron.
We have now a border where nobody gets through. In addition, Venezuela unilaterally seized and sold American oil,
Bro, don't come
American
here.
assets, and American platforms, costing us billions and billions of dollars. This is a while ago, but we never had a president that did anything about it. They
Oh,
took all
shut
of our
the fuck
property.
up.
It was our property. We built it. And we never had a president that decided to do anything about it.
Not
Instead,
true.
they fought wars that were 10,000 miles away. We built Venezuela oil industry with American talent, drive, and skill.
Oh,
And
sweet
the
Jesus.
socialist regime stole it from us during those previous
He is trying
administrations,
to
and they
take
stole
over
it through
the world.
force. This constituted one of the largest thefts of American property in the history of our country. Considered the largest theft of property in the history of our country. Massive oil infrastructure was taken like we were babies, and we didn't do anything about it. I would have done something about it.
No, you wouldn't.
America will never allow foreign powers to rob our people or drive us back into and out of our own hemisphere. That's what they did.
Ambassador.
Furthermore, under the now deposed dictator Maduro, Venezuela was increasingly hosting foreign adversaries in our region,
No.
acquiring menacing offensive weapons that could threaten U.S. interests and lives. And they used those weapons last night.
Did they?
Potentially in league with the cartels operating along our border. All of these actions were in gross violation
I
of
thought
the
nobody
core
was at our
principles of
border.
American foreign policy, dating back more than
No.
2 centuries.
You're breaking
And,
international law, my dude.
Not anymore.
Nope.
All the way back, it dated
Let him
to
out.
the Monroe Doctrines.
Oh, dear God.
And the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal, but we've superseded it by a lot, by a real lot. They now call it the Donroe Document. I don't know.
Oh, my God.
This, Monroe Doctrine. We sort of forgot about it. It was very important, but we forgot about it. We
No,
don't forget
you
about
just
it anymore.
no.
Our new national security strategy, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere,
Oh, sweet
will
Jesus.
never be questioned again. Won't happen.
Yes, it will.
So just in concluding, for decades, other
Nuremberg.
administrations
Let's
have
go.
neglected or even contributed to these growing security threats in the Western Hemisphere.
No.
Under the Trump administration, we are reasserting American power in a very powerful way.
Can you
In our home region.
pronounce words correctly,
And
please?
our home region is very different than it was just a short while ago. The future will be, and we did this in my first term. We had great dominance in my first term, and we have far greater dominance.
He is talking like a
Now it's coming
rapist,
back to us. The future will be
talking
determined by
about
the ability
dominance.
to protect commerce and
Don't let
territorial
women and any type of
resources that are
female near
core
him.
to national security.
Don't let a
These are
child
core
near
to
him.
our national security. Just like tariffs are, they've made our country rich,
No.
and they've made our national security strong,
No.
stronger than ever before. But these are the iron laws that have always determined global power.
The iron laws? Get the
And,
fuck out of here.
We're going to keep it that way. We will
No.
secure our borders. We will stop the terrorists. We will
I thought our borders were
crash
already
the
secured.
cartels, and we will defend our citizens against all threats,
So
foreign and
you?
domestic. Other presidents may have lacked the courage or whatever.
You or the biggest
Defend
domestic threat to
America.
this country.
But I
You
will
and
never
every
allow
crony behind
terrorists
you.
and criminals to operate with
You're a criminal.
impunity against the United States.
Nope.
This extremely successful operation should serve as warning to anyone who would threaten American sovereignty or endanger American lives. Very importantly, the embargo on all Venezuelan oil remains in full effect. The American Armada remains poised in position, and the United States retains all military options until United States demands have been fully met
Nope.
and fully satisfied.
Cool.
All
So now it's
political and
hostage
military
situation.
figures in Venezuela should understand what happened to Maduro can happen to them, and it will happen to them if
They're
they
so
aren't
fucked.
just, fair, even to their people. The dictator and
So
terrorist
fucked.
Maduro is finally gone, and Venezuela people are free. They're free again.
No.
It's been a long time for them, but they're free.
No.
America is a safer nation.
Nope.
This morning, it's a prouder nation this morning because
Nope.
it didn't allow this horrible person and this country that was doing very bad things to us.
No.
It didn't allow it to happen. And the Western
Funny how we
Hemisphere is
didn't know
right now
anything
a
about
much
Venezuela, so you
safer
started
place to be.
attacking
So I
it.
want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank General Raisin Kane. He's fantastic man. I've worked with a lot of generals. I worked with some I didn't like.
I like this general because he's white and he'll listen to me.
Good, but this guy is fantastic. I watched last night one of the most precise attacks on sovereignty. I mean, it was an attack for justice, and I'm very proud of him. And I'm very
I see
proud
you
of
feel
our
the same way,
Secretary
Emma.
for Pete Hegseth, who I'm going to ask to say a few words.
Oh God.
Mr. President, can you explain how the U.S. will win Venezuela? Well, thank you, Mr. President.
Oh
I'm the
God.
Commander-in-Chief the world respects and the American people deserve.
No.
The President said, words can barely capture
Oh God.
the bravery and the power and the precision of this historic
You were
operation.
not
A
brave.
massive joint military and law enforcement raid flawlessly executed by the greatest Americans our country has to offer. American warriors are second to none, the best in the world and the best of our country.
Oh my God. You
What
can
I
say
and
it all
of
you
us
want.
witnessed last night was sheer guts and grit.
Nobody likes
heroism,
you.
and glory of the American warrior.
I'm
simply humbled by such
Nope.
such men, and I tip my
Oh,
hat
fall asleep
to our
standing
chairman,
up and pass out.
Raisin Kane, and all those Americans
Oh
who
God.
stood watch last night. Our warriors
The
are the
general
hope
looks
of
like he's
America,
gonna be
and again,
sick.
President Trump has your back.
No, he doesn't.
No other country on planet Earth, and it's not even close, could pull this kind of operation off. And no other president
Yeah, because it's
has ever shown
illegal.
this kind of leadership, courage,
No.
and resolve. The
No.
most powerful combination the world has ever seen. As the president said, our adversaries remain on notice. America can project our will anywhere. The stealth, the lethality, the precision, the very long arm of American justice, all on full display
No.
in the middle of the night. Nicolas Maduro had his chance, just like Iran had their chance, until they didn't and until he didn't. He effed around and he found out.
Wow.
President Trump is deadly serious about
You
stopping
kidding
the
me?
flow of gangs and violence to our country. Deadly serious about stopping the flow of drugs and poison to our people. Deadly serious about getting back the oil that was stolen from us. And deadly serious about reestablishing American deterrence and dominance in the Western Hemisphere. This is about the safety, security, freedom, and prosperity of the American people. This is America first.
No.
This is peace through strength.
No.
And the United States War Department is proud to help deliver it. Welcome to 2026. And under President Trump, America is back.
Nope.
I'd like to welcome now our chairman, Chairman Raisin Kane, to give a few more details about the operation. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you. Good morning. Last night, on the order of the President of the United States and in support of a request from the Department of Justice, as the President said, the United States military conducted an apprehension mission in Caracas, Venezuela, to bring to justice two indicted persons, Nicolas and Cecilia Maduro. This operation, known as Operation Absolute Resolve, was discreet, precise, and conducted during the darkest hours of January 2nd and was the culmination of months of planning and rehearsal, an operation that, frankly, only the United States military could undertake. What I'd like to do this morning is talk to you through some of the preparation and the details without compromising any of our tactics, techniques, and procedures. There is always a chance that we'll be tasked to do this type of mission again.
No, don't do it.
Interagency work began months ago and built on decades of experience of integrating complex air, ground, space, and maritime operations. While the past 2 decades have honed the skills of our special operations forces, this particular mission required every component of our joint force, with soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians working in unison with our intelligence agency partners and law enforcement teammates in an unprecedented operation. We leveraged our unmatched intelligence capabilities and our
I guess
years
this is them
of
trying to
experience
say,
in hunting
"Oh, look at
terror.
us being
We
so
could not have seen
transparent."
this
Yeah,
mission
no,
without the
no.
incredible work by various intelligence agencies, including the CIA, NSA, and NGA. We watched, we waited, we prepared, we remained patient and professional. This mission was meticulously planned, drawing lessons from decades of missions over the last many years, many missions over these last many years. This was an audacious operation that only the United States could do. It required the utmost of precision and integration within our joint force. And the word integration does not explain the sheer complexity of such a mission. An extraction so precise, it involved more than 150 aircraft launching across the Western Hemisphere in close coordination, all coming together in time and place to layer effects.
Can you
with a
imagine
single purpose, to get an interdiction
how
force
much
into
resources
downtown
and
Caracas
money this
while
wasted to do
maintaining
this?
the element of
And this
tactical
is our tax
surprise.
dollars.
Failure of one component of this well-oiled machine would have endangered the entire mission, and failure is never an option for America's joint force. Those in the air over Caracas last night were willing to give their lives for those on the ground and in the helicopters. Let me talk a little bit about the preparation. After months of work by our intelligence teammates to find Maduro and understand how he moved, where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate, what he wore, what were his pets. In early December, our force was set pending a series of aligned events. Key was choosing the right day to minimize the potential for civilian harm and maximize the element of surprise and minimize the harm to the indicted personnel. So as the president said, they could be brought to justice. And as the president said earlier today, weather in Venezuela is always a factor this time of the year. And over the weeks through Christmas and New Year's, the men and women of the United States military sat ready, patiently waiting for the right triggers to be met and the president to order us into action. Last night, the weather broke just
Not being
enough,
able to spend
clearing a
time
path
with their families.
that only the most skilled aviators in the world could maneuver through. Ocean, mountain, low cloud ceilings. But when tasked with a mission, this organization does not quit. At 10:46 p.m. Eastern time last night, the president ordered the United States military to move forward with this mission. He said to us, and we appreciate it, Mr. President, good luck and Godspeed.
Get the
And those
orange
words
off your
were
lip.
transmitted to the entire joint force.
Oh, people
Over the
gotten
course
it.
of
Must
the
be
night,
Christian.
aircraft began launching from 20 different bases on land and sea across the Western Hemisphere. In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night. Thousands and thousands of hours of experience were airborne. Our youngest crew member was 20, and our oldest crew member was 49. And there's simply no match for American military might. As the night began, the helicopters took off with the extraction force, which included law enforcement officers, and began their flight into Venezuela at 100 feet above the water. As they approached Venezuelan shores, the United States began layering different effects provided by Spacecom, Cybercom, and other members of the interagency to create a pathway. Overhead, those forces were protected by aircraft from the United States Marines, the United States Navy, the United States Air Force, and the Air National Guard. The force included F-22s, F-35s, F-18s, EA-18s.
Nobody knows what normal people don't know what this means, dude.
As well as numerous remotely piloted drones. As the force began to approach Caracas, the Joint Air Component began dismantling and disabling the air defense systems in Venezuela, employing weapons to ensure the safe passage of the helicopters into the target area. The goal of our air component was, and always will be to protect the helicopters and the ground force and get them to the target and get them home. As the force crossed the last point of high terrain where they'd been hiding in the clutter, we assessed that we had maintained totally the element of surprise. As the helicopter force ingressed towards the objective at low level, we arrived at Maduro's compound at 1:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 2:01 a.m. Caracas local time, and the apprehension force descended into Maduro's compound and moved with speed, precision, and discipline towards their objective, and isolated the area to ensure the safety and security of the ground force while apprehending the indicted persons. On arrival into the target area, the helicopters came under fire, and they replied with that fire with overwhelming force in self-defense. One of our aircraft was hit, but remained flyable, and as the president said earlier today, all of our aircraft came home, and that aircraft remained flyable during the rest of the mission. As the operation unfolded at the compound, our air and ground intelligence teams provided real-time updates to the ground force, ensuring those forces could safely navigate the complex environment without unnecessary risk. The force remained protected by overhead tactical aviation. Maduro and his wife, both indicted, gave up and were taken into custody by the Department of Justice, assisted by our incredible U.S. military with professionalism and precision, with no loss of U.S. life. After securing the indicted persons, the force began to prep for departure. Helicopters were called in to exfiltrate the extraction force, while fighter aircraft and remotely piloted aircraft provided overhead coverage and suppressive fire. There were multiple self-defense engagements as the force began to withdraw out of Venezuela. The force successfully exfiltrated and returned to their afloat launch bases, and the force was over the water at 3:29 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with indicted persons on board. And both Maduro and his wife were embarked aboard the USS Iwo Jima. In closing, what we've witnessed today is a powerful demonstration of America's joint force. We think, we develop,
No.
we train,
No.
we rehearse,
Mm-mm.
we debrief, we rehearse again and again, not to get it right, but to ensure that we cannot get
What
it
kind of
wrong.
military people
Our
use the
jobs
term
are to
rehearse?
integrate combat power, so when
This
the
isn't
order comes,
theater.
we can deliver overwhelming force
Ugh.
at the time and the place of our choosing against any foe anywhere in the world. I am immensely proud today of our joint force.
I'm not.
Filled with gratitude to represent them here today. There is simply no mission too difficult for these incredible professionals and the families that stand by them and support them. As we stand here this morning, our forces remain in the region at a high state of readiness, prepared to project power, defend themselves, and our interests in the region. This operation is a testament to the dedication and unwavering commitment to justice and our resolve to hold accountable those who threaten peace and stability. In closing, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the brave men and women who executed this mission. Their courage and tireless commitment to our nation are what makes us strong. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, what the hell does he have to say?
Now, other than the following points, Nicolas Maduro was indicted in 2020 in the United States. He is not the legitimate president of Venezuela. That's not just us saying it. The first Trump administration, the Biden administration, the second Trump administration, none of those three recognized him. He's not recognized by the European Union and multiple countries around the world. He is a fugitive of American justice with a $50 million reward, which I guess we saved $50 million. And
we should make sure.
Yeah, exactly. But
don't let anybody claim
it. But I want to be clear about one thing. Nicolas Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this. He was provided multiple very, very, very generous offers and chose instead to act like a wild man, chose instead to play around. And the result is what we saw tonight. The other message here is the following. You have a guy like many people around the world, they like to play games. You have a guy who decides he's going to invite Iran into his country, is going to, do the confiscation of American oil companies, is going to flood our country with gang members, is going to take Americans prisoner and try to hold them for hostage and trade them like he was able to do with the Biden administration. Basically likes to play games all this time and thinks nothing's going to happen. And I hope what people now understand is we have a president, the 47th president of the United States.
Oh, God.
A game player. When he tells you that he's going to do something, when tells you he's going to address a
Oh,
problem,
shut up, Rubio.
he actions it. I can tell you, I've watched this process now for 14, 15 years, been around it. Everybody talks. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. When I get there, we're going to do this. We're going to take. This is a president of action. Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way
Oh,
it's
my
played out.
God.
That's what people need to understand, that this is not a president that just talks, writes letters and press conferences. And, if he says he's serious about something, he means it. And this is something that was a direct threat to the national interest of the United States, and the president addressed it. There's a president of peace, by the way. I told you what I just said earlier.
Oh, my
This guy had
God.
multiple opportunities to find his way somewhere else. And figure out another. He could have been living somewhere else right now, very happy. But instead, he wanted to play big boy. So now, he's got other sets of problems on his hands. And but I think the message here should be for the world. Look, the president doesn't go out looking for people to pick fights with. He's not generally wants to get along with everybody. Talk and meet with anybody. But don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office, because it's not going to turn out well. And so I hope that I guess that lesson was learned last night, and we hope it'll be instructive moving forward.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Oh, God.
Mr. President.
You said that the U.S. is going to run Venezuela. So who's in power right now?
Well, we're going to be running it with a group, and we're going to make sure it's run properly. We're going to rebuild the oil infrastructure, which will cost billions of dollars. It'll be paid for by the oil companies directly. They will be reimbursed for what they're doing, but it's going to be paid. And we're going to get the oil flowing the way it should be. As you know, it was just a minor flow. It was actually a minor flow for what they have. But we're going to run it properly, and we're going to make sure the people of Venezuela are taken care of. We're going to make sure the people that were forced out of Venezuela by this thug are also taken care of.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Does the U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, they always say boots on the ground. Oh, so we're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it. But we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. This is a very dangerous attack. This is an attack that could have gone very, very badly. We could have lost a lot of people last night. We could have lost a lot of...
I feel we're going to lose a lot of people from this.
Equipment is less important, but we could have lost a lot. And we're going to make sure that this is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right. It's going to be run very judiciously, very fairly. It's going to make a lot of money. We're going to give money to the people.
Yes.
People that were taken advantage of.
Doesn't matter. People in your country are starving.
It's very important. We couldn't let them get away with it. They stole our oil. We built that whole industry there. And they just took it over like we were nothing. And we had a president that decided not to do anything about it. So we did something about it. We're late, but we did something about it. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, can you explain the exact mechanism by which you're going to run the country? Are you going to designate a U.S. official to coordinate?
It's all being done right now. We're designating people. We're talking to people. We're designating various people, and we're going to let you know who those people are.
Mr. President.
That would run Venezuela.
Well, it's largely going to be for a period of time. The people that are standing right behind me.
Great.
We're running it. We're going to be bringing it back. It's a dead. I talk about a dead country. A year and a half ago, we were a dead country.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
The hottest country anywhere in the world. We're a country doing better than any country anywhere in the world. And it required leadership. Venezuela has a lot of bad people in there. A lot of bad people that shouldn't be leading. We're not going to take a chance that one of those people take over for Maduro. So you can look at, and others, we have fantastic people, including people in the military. So we're going to have a group of people running it until such time as it can be put back on track, make a lot of money for the people.
No, make a lot of money for you.
Life, and also reimbursement for people in our country that were forced out of Venezuela.
Rubio would be.
You said earlier today that you weren't going to back Machado to come back and be the opposition leader in your Fox and Friends interview. And then you also mentioned the vice president of Venezuela. Are you going to work with the vice president of Venezuela, or how do you foresee the relationship
Well, I
going?
understand she was just sworn in, but she was, as you know, picked by Maduro. So Marco's working on that directly. Just had a conversation with her, and she's essentially willing to do what we think is necessary to make Venezuela great again. Very simple.
Oh, God.
Mr. President, Colombian President Gustavo Petro, a couple weeks ago, he said he's got to watch his ass. And today, he said he's not concerned about anything happening to him in the aftermath of this operation. So, just what your message is
Well,
about
he
that.
has cocaine mills. He has factories where he makes cocaine. And yeah, I think I stick by my first statement. He's making cocaine. They're sending it into the United States. So he does have to watch his ass.
Mr. President,
Did you notify any members of Congress in advance?
Marco, do you want to talk about that? Because you were involved.
Sure. We call members of Congress immediately after. This was not the kind of mission that you can do congressional notification.
Yes, it is.
A trigger-based mission in which conditions had to be met night after night. We watched them night after a number of days. So it's just simply not the kind of mission you can call people and say, hey, we may do this at some point in the next 15 days. But it's largely a law enforcement function. Remember, at the end of the day, at its core, this was an arrest of 2 indicted fugitives of American justice. And the Department of War supported the Department of Justice in that job. Now,
There's no Department of War.
Here, but it's just not the kind of mission that you can pre-notify because it endangers the mission.
If I could add one thing to that, Congress has a tendency to leak. This would not be good. If they leaked, General, I think it would have been maybe a very different result. But I have to say, they knew we were coming at some point, A lot of ships out there, they sort of knew we were coming. But Congress will leak, and we don't want leakage.
Mr. President, you were one of the only people to watch this all play out live. What was Maduro doing when the U.S. forces entered what I assume would be his home? And also, was there any point where the U.S. was considering if Maduro pushed back or resisted killing Maduro?
It could have happened. It could have happened. He was trying to get into a safe place. You know what a safe place is, all steel. And he wasn't able to make it to the door because our guys were so fast. They went through the opposition so fast. And there was a lot of opposition. People were wondering, do we get them by surprise? Sort of surprised, but they were waiting for something. It was a lot of opposition. There was a lot of gunfire. You saw some of it today. But he was trying to get to a safe place, which wasn't safe because we would have had the door blown up in about 47 seconds, they say on average, regardless of how thick the steel was. It was a very thick door. It was a very heavy door, but he was unable to get to that door. He made it to the door. He wasn't able to close it.
So where is Maduro going to be?
Go ahead, finish.
Where is Maduro going to be in the time being right now? Do you know his exact
Well,
whereabouts?
eventually, ultimately, in the near future, he's going to be brought to New York.
And where is he going to be held? Where is he going to be held in New York? Do you know?
That's going to be up to the officials that do these things.
Mr. President, the U.S. has something of a mixed track record of ousting dictators without necessarily a plan for what comes afterwards.
Not with
Did
me,
that
though.
weigh on your decision
Well, that's
making?
why we had different presidents, but with me, that's not true. With me, we've had a perfect track record of winning. We win a lot, and we win. If you look at Soleimani, you look at al-Baghdadi, you look at the Midnight Hammer. Midnight Hammer was incredible. Right now, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. We have essentially peace in the Middle East. Because if we weren't successful with Midnight Hammer, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. So, with me, you've had a lot of victory. You've had only victories. You've had no losses. Yeah.
Mr. President, can you? How long do you expect the U.S. to run Venezuela, and how soon do you want the Venezuelan people to hold elections?
So I'd like to do it quickly, but it takes a period of time. We're rebuilding. We have to rebuild their whole infrastructure. The infrastructure is rotted. It's actually very dangerous. It's blow up territory. Oil is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing to take out of the ground. It can kill a lot of people. It has killed a lot of people doing just that. The infrastructure is old. It's rotted. Much of it is stuff that we put there 25 years ago, and we're going to be replacing it. And we're going to take a lot of money out so that we can take care of the country.
Are you saying that Secretary Rubio and
Mr. President, China, Russia, and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them when
Well,
it
in
comes to
terms
the
of
oil and the
China
drugs?
and Russia, well, Russia when we get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to. In other words, we'll be selling oil probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries, many of whom are using it now. But I would say many more will come.
Are you saying that, Mr. President, are you saying that? Oh,
Mr. President, thank you. What is your message to the people of Venezuela today? Of course, the civilian population specifically, they have a lot of questions. What is your message to the people of Venezuela?
That you're going to have peace, justice. You're going to have some of the riches that you should have had for a long period of time. It was stolen from you. But you're going to have peace and you're going to have safety. You're going to have justice. You're going to have a country. You're going to have a real country. You're going to have potentially a great country. You know, if you go back 20 years, maybe even a little longer ago, that was a great country. And they destroyed it. They said that if we lose this election, the United States will be Venezuela on steroids. That's what would have happened. Had we lost the election, 2024 election, we suffered so badly when you look at the border from 2020, what they did, what Joe Biden administration
Shut the
did
fuck up,
to our
dude.
country should never be forgotten. But if we had to go through another year of that, we wouldn't have. We would be exactly where Venezuela was in terms of, I used to say, if they win, we're going to be Venezuela on steroids, and that's what would have happened.
President, thank you. Are you saying that Secretary Hegseth and Rubio are going to be running Venezuela, and will you be sending in U.S. military
They're going
troops
to be a team
provide?
that's working with the people of Venezuela to make sure that we have Venezuela right. Because for us to just leave, who's going to take over? I mean, there is nobody to take over.
That's not
You have
true.
a vice president who's been appointed by Maduro. And right now she's the vice president and she's, I guess, the president. She was sworn as president just a little while ago. She had a long conversation with Marco and she said, we'll do whatever you need. I think she was quite gracious, but she really doesn't have a choice. We're going to have this done right. We're not going to just do this with Maduro, then leave like everybody else, leave and say, you know, let it go to hell. If we just left, it has zero chance of ever coming back. We'll run it properly. We'll run it professionally. We'll have the greatest oil companies in the world going and invest billions and billions of dollars and take out money, use that money in Venezuela. And the biggest beneficiary are going to be the people of Venezuela. And also, I can't stress this strongly enough, the people that got thrown out of Venezuela that are now in the United States. And frankly, some want to stay and some probably want to go back. Yeah.
So, Mr. President, what is being done to protect Americans in the country? And
Nothing.
Well, right now they're very protected because nobody's going to mess with us. They're very protected. The people of, and we let them know that you better not touch one of them.
And are you concerned that bad elements of the Maduro regime will remain in place?
Well, we know who they are. We're on them, and they're acting much differently now than they would have acted 2 days ago.
And what do you
Okay,
say
wait,
about
behind you, please.
Mr. President, why is running a country in South America America first?
Oh.
Well, I think it is because we want to surround ourselves with good neighbors. We want to
Good
surround
question,
ourselves
dude.
with stability. We want to surround ourselves with energy. We have tremendous energy in that country. It's very important that we protect it. We need that for ourselves. We need that for the world. And we want to make sure we can protect it. Yes, sir. Please, go ahead.
Is there a message here for Cuba and Diaz-Canel?
Well, Cuba's an interesting case. Cuba is, not doing very well right now. That system has not been a very good one for Cuba. The people there have suffered for many, many years. And I think Cuba is going to be something we'll end up talking about because Cuba is a failing nation right now, very badly failing nation.
Look out, Cuba.
And we want to help the people. It's very similar in the sense that we want to help the people in Cuba, but we want to also help the people that were forced out of Cuba and living in this country. Do you want to say something about that, Marco, please?
Well, I mean, I just gave you a statement a few minutes ago about, when the president speaks, you should take him seriously. So suffice it to say, Cuba is a disaster. It's run by incompetent, senile men, and in some cases, not senile, but incompetent nonetheless. It has no economy. It's in total collapse. And by the way, they were, all the guards that helped protect Maduro, this is well known, their whole spy agency, all that were full of Cubans. I mean, it's amazing. This poor island took over Venezuela in some cases. One of the biggest problems that Venezuelans have is they have to declare independence from Cuba. They tried to basically colonize it from a security standpoint. So, yeah, look, if I lived in Havana and I was in the government, I'd be concerned, at least a little bit.
I don't know.
Well, the president already announced a week ago that anything that's sanctioned, it's sanctioned oil, it's not going to be allowed to get there. So that's an
The answer is yes.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
is the U.S. aware of the location of opposition leader Machado, and have you been in contact with her?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Mr. President,
how many hesitations about Machado?
Mr. President, on Monday.
Oh, I think it would be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have the support within or the respect within the country. She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect.
Mr. President, is it possible that the U.S. ends up administrating Venezuela for years?
Well, it won't cost us anything because the money coming out of the ground is very substantial. So it's not going to cost us
So the U.S.
anything.
isn't going to dedicate
We
any
will.
money to.
Well, we want
redevelopment.
safety there. We want to be surrounded by countries that aren't housing all of our enemies all over the world. That's what was happening, and you don't want to have that. But we're going to be rebuilding, and we're not spending money. The oil companies are going to go in. They're going to spend money. We're going to take back the oil that, frankly, we should have taken back a long time ago. A lot of money is coming out of the ground. We're going to get reimbursed for all of that. We're going to get reimbursed for everything that we spend. So it's going to be a very important. This is a very big evening that took place last night. We have to be surrounded by safe, secure countries, and we also have to have energy. Very important. We have to have energy that's real energy, not where they're getting 4% and 5% of the energy out of the ground. You take a look. It was such a disaster. So what's going to happen with Venezuela, I think, over the next period of a year, is going to be a great thing, and the people of Venezuela will be the biggest beneficiaries.
Mr. President, on Monday, U.S. military.
Mr. President, thank you. What did you last speak to Maduro about when you spoke? And is the
Well,
US
I don't want to
at
get
war
into
with
the
Venezuela?
conversations, but I did have conversations with him, and I said, you got to surrender. And I actually thought he was pretty close to doing so, but now he wished he did, yeah.
Mr. President, can you explain? You said that Maduro is responsible for drug trafficking. You recently pardoned the former president of Honduras, who was convicted of many drug trafficking. Can you explain how these two situations are different? And would you ever pardon Maduro?
I endorsed, as you know, the winning president, the man who won in Honduras. I endorsed the man who won in Chile. I endorsed the man who won in Argentina. And we are doing very well with that whole group. What the man that I pardoned was, if you could equate it to us, he was treated like the Biden administration treated a man named Trump. That didn't work out too well for them.
God.
This was a man who was persecuted very unfairly. He was the head of the country. He was persecuted very unfairly. And there are a number of them. And we felt that it was a very unfair situation that happened to him. He's also a party member of the man who won. So obviously the people liked what I did. And one of the reasons that was done is because of the fact that the
Nobody's
party
trying to
in
make
power
Venezuela great.
felt very strongly that that man was treated very badly. I studied it very quickly, and then I studied it in great detail. I went to a lot of the people standing behind me, and they felt that that man was persecuted and treated very badly. That's why I gave him a pardon.
Mr. President, you referenced boots on the ground earlier. Can you just sort of button this up? Do you envision the U.S. military having a presence in Venezuela as the U.S. runs that
Well,
country?
no, we're going to have presence in Venezuela as it pertains to oil, because we have to have, we're sending our expertise in. So you may need something, not very much. But no, we're going to be taking out a tremendous amount of wealth out of the ground. And that wealth is going to the people of Venezuela. And
No, it's not. It's
from
going to your
outside of
pocket.
Venezuela that used to be in Venezuela. And it goes also to the United States of America in the form of reimbursement for the damages caused us by that country. So I want to thank you all very much. Thank you. Do you have one? Yes, please. You were so nice before. I'm going to give you the final question. Go
Thank
ahead.
you, Mr.
Unless it's a bad question.
No,
in which
Dick.
case I'll go one more. It's about who?
It's about Putin. If you want
About Putin. Well, that's
Okay.
always nice.
You had a phone.
About Putin.
You had a phone call with him on
Yeah.
Monday. Did he talk at all about Maduro? Did y'all talk about this?
No, we didn't.
And
We
then-
never spoke about Maduro.
Are you mad at him right now? I mean, there's this
I'm not
intelligence.
thrilled with Putin. I'm not thrilled with Putin. He's killing too many people.
There was that
I
intelligence.
thought that would be so. I settled 8 1/4 war. You know what the 1 quarter
What
was?
the?
Thailand and Cambodia. I did
Oh
it
my
again.
God.
They broke out, and I did it in about 5 hours, and I settled it. I'm giving myself 1 quarter, so I'm up to now 8 1/4. In other words, I settled the war, but then they broke out. They had a pretty bad breakout over the last 4 days. I got them to go back to peace, so I only give 1 quarter. I thought the easiest one would be, one of the easier ones would be Russia, Ukraine. It's not, and they both have done some pretty bad things. And look, that's Biden's war. That's not my war. But I want to stop the lives. Did you see where last month 30,000? This last it was 27,000 the month before. 30,000, mostly soldiers, were killed this last month. 30,000. I want to stop that. You know, I got NATO to pay 5%.
Stop giving illegal orders then.
They weren't paying 2, now they pay 5. And we send them a lot of munitions. We send them a lot of things, missiles and various other things, a lot. And they pay. The United States is not losing money. We're probably making money.
Yes,
on
we
that.
are.
It's the last thing I care about. I just want to stop all those people. We're losing 25, 30,000 human beings that come from 2 places that are very far away. But if I can stop, because it's something I've been pretty good at doing, deals, I guess. It's all a deal. Life is a big deal. But if I can stop that war and stop 30,000 young people, in addition to the fact that people are being killed in Kiev, people are being killed in other cities.
Yeah, by your buddy Putin.
A much smaller number, but they're being killed, viciously killed. So I'm not happy about it. I thought that would be something that would get solved. We have Mr. Witkoff here. I think that we're making progress.
Oh, God.
That's a war that should have never happened. If I were president, it would have never happened.
No.
Putin says it. Everybody says it. If I were president, that would have never happened. But I inherited that war. That was Joe Biden, Zelensky, and Putin.
Nope.
I came into the situation, and it's a mess.
Nope.
And I will say this. I watched an operation last night that was so precise, that was so brilliant. I mean, it was incredible. If we had our people, like this general and our people involved, that war would not have gone on very long, that I can tell you.
told me
That war, to use an old term, that war has become a bloodbath. And we wanted to get stopped. Thank you very much.
Are you concerned a rogue Venezuelan general to take over the country?
Can you talk about your conversation with the vice president?
Oh my God. This is shameful and demented. All right, guys. After watching that, let's see how I feel.
I have fucking had it from top to bottom.
That's one. Let's see. Also,
This is a load of barnacles.
And lastly, yeah, he's demented and we're screwed. So if you watched all of this and stayed with me, thanks for watching. Check us out on Monday and find some peace this weekend and take care of yourselves and love those that you are with. Peace out.
All I said was there's evil afoot.
Evil!